It is October. Okay, a test. What is our annual theme of 2021? Healing is revealing our wholeness. Right on. Healing is revealing our wholeness. In other words, wholeness is already there, and all we have to do is reveal it. And it's not really even a doing, it's a being. So, the book that we are starting for October, November, December is the book Becoming Supernatural. And these are the 4 books that we have read this year. Can I ask how many have read all 4? Just curious. No? Just me. Okay. That's fine. The first book was by Ralph Waldo Trine, In Tune with the Infinite. And there is no doubt that Dr. Ernest Holmes read this book because it was published before him during his lifetime. The second book was called Oneness. Some vivid thoughts that stick with me out of that book, a different perspective about who we truly are and how we need to, in some sense, unidentify with our body and identify with our awareness of who we are. And then we just got through with the heart math solution, and those scientists that talk about how we can move our heart into alignment or coherence in order to express our greater good, our greater essence of our beingness, whether you're having issues in relationship or have some other, how do we move ourselves into a better, greater knowing? And no surprise, those scientists work with Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has this book, Becoming Supernatural, How Common People Are Doing the Uncommon. Now, I have to tell you, this book circled around a lot for me, but I was always a little put off by the title. Becoming supernatural? Like, are you talking about superheroes? Are you talking about, like, becoming a mystic? But I know it's a science book. What is it really talking about? And it's really talking about becoming your full potential. Being able to demonstrate in this life, in this expression, who you truly are. Now, the book is easy to read, although it is definitely mind, body, spirit. Mind, he talks about brain science, but in a very easy way to understand. Body, physical science, talking about how we really do emanate light. The body really does do that. And also talks about spirit, which he calls consciousness. And, we also read, I think last year, Lynn McIntyre, The Power of 8. And she speaks to this book saying, yes, this is our natural state of being, and it's within reach. What's within reach? Revealing our wholeness, whether for each of you that's greater health, greater abundance, greater relationships, jobs, creativity, whatever it is that is divinely, uniquely you. So, another question for you. And I'm really going to pause for a minute because I want you to be able to have enough time to think about, what are you becoming? 1 minute. What are you becoming? What are you becoming? What are you becoming? right, that is 1 minute. Would anybody like to share what came to them? Awake. Excellent. You're becoming nothing.
That's right.
Okay, you're going straight to the core.
Expanded.
Expanded. Ernie?
More conscious, more understanding, more loving, more interesting, more humorous.
Love it. Your spirit just keeps pouring out for you. I love that.
I can't help myself.
Peggy?
The best version of myself.
Beautiful. The best version of myself. Love that. Now, if you didn't have answers coming to you, that's okay. Certainly invite you to spend some time reflecting on that question. Yes. A whole wise woman. Love that. Yes. LHB, loving human being. I can already see that as a t-shirt. Excellent. So, based on the responses, it's been great because for some, although I don't feel like any of the answers today, it may be that what your response is something that is influenced by race consciousness or messages from society or messages from news or messages from work. But I love that everybody got sort of through that layer and into the essence of being. For me, similar to some of you, I am becoming more spiritual, deepening who I know that I am, and why I came here at the soul level. And the truth is that you are actually becoming what you most think about. So now you get to ask yourself the question, based on what you said you're becoming, are your thoughts and what you mostly spend time thinking about in alignment with what you are becoming? If mostly what you're thinking about are thoughts of the past, you are rewiring your brain to live in the past. And he talks about that. Now, for quite some time, maybe not when Dr. Ernest Holmes was alive, we talk about that we understand in brain science that the more we reiterate either certain patterns, habits, or thoughts, we build neuronal pathways in our brain. So if you're thinking a lot about the past, you're just rewiring your brain based on the past. And that's not where your power is. Or you may have many thoughts of worry, which is fear of the future. And when you are spending lots of time fearing the future, then you are rewiring your brain to continue to fear what may be coming next. So there may be some resistance or some energy that's like, I'm not sure what's coming next. I worry about what's coming next. Again, that's not where your power is. Where is your power? Now. The present now. The present is always with us, but we're not always conscious of it. When the mind is thinking about the past or worrying about the future, we're not conscious of the awareness that we are. And in a previous lesson a couple weeks ago, the mantra I shared was, I am aware that I am aware. To bring me back into the present moment and to be aware of the consciousness that I am. And of course, if I continue that mantra, what I am doing is developing the neuronal pathway in my brain to recognize that I am ultimately awareness, and that I am now developing the habit of being present. I am aware that I am aware. So Dr. Joe states the case on how we aren't really our full potential if we're focused on our past or our future. because we have a lot of emotional bonds to things that have happened before. Now, as a kid, I had to really think about this. As a kid, did you spend more time thinking, sort of dreaming about the future? How would you grow up? What job would you have? Who would you marry? How many kids would you have? Versus, it seems like, maybe it's just me, that as we get older, we start having a lot more thoughts because we've lived a longer life and we've come to know this life in a different way, thinking about the past, which therefore gets us the same results as we've gotten before, which may not be our highest potential. What you lived before, no judgment about that. And you still have unlimited potential. Marianne Williams says, "We do not heal the past by dwelling there. We heal the past by living fully in the present." Our minds are very powerful. You know, in the book, and I've read it in several other books before, different scientists who've done experiments. In this case, it was piano players and athletes that they would set up multiple groups, and they would tell this group, you need to practice for so much per day. This group, you know, not as disciplined about doing the practice. And then another group that was to only practice in their mind. And those that practiced in their mind did just as well as those that actually practiced. And that's because scientists say that our mind doesn't know the difference between reality, what we experienced, and what we think about. So, one of the, I'm not, of course, finished with the book, just getting through the book, hoping to draw you in and inspire you, and as far as what are you becoming, the book assisting you in becoming that. Dr. Joe continues to show pictures, which are graphically nice, about how if you consider yourself in the present now, that when you think about the past or worry about the future, you're actually drawing energy out from yourself into those things, into the worry or into the past for healing. Because we become emotionally bonded, it's very comfortable there. And we start to identify ourselves by the previous experiences, even though the potential that's always existed is here right now, regardless of what's happened before. So we lose energy, we lose focus, and our heart and mind get out of coherence based on those experiences. But the real power is bringing ourselves back into, I always say, alignment. But it's fun to always be reading books that are like, oh, different language for the same thing, different approach. To how do we begin to move into our more fuller potential and create new demonstrations and a new destiny, whether that's, again, greater relationships, health, abundance, whatever it is you are seeking. How do we release entirely the emotional bonds and allow ourselves to be in the present moment? And getting ahead of myself a little bit, when we can release ourselves of the identification, no body, no time, no space, no thing, we can move ourselves into a space to leverage and to align with our higher potential. So this is what's fun, is Dr. Joe basically says that when we can become in the present moment without those attachments, that we are entering the quantum field or the unified field. Now, this is how he describes the quantum field. It's invisible field of energy and information. An invisible field of energy and information. It's an intelligence, and it's conscious. It's beyond space and time. It's beyond physical senses. It governs universal law. Does that sound like God to you? You exist in the quantum field as an awareness and are therefore connected to the greater levels of intelligence. Does this sound familiar for science of mind philosophy? So, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, 3 quotes. There is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. Although another way I like to say that is, there is a power in the universe, and we can use it for good. There is only one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And lastly, I believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that I am surrounded and live in it, this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of my thought and acts upon it. I think Dr. Ernest Holmes would be friends with Dr. Joe, don't you think? So, how do we learn to not attach to the lack, limitation, again, injuries, whatever, bad health, etc., of the past, to release that so that we can actually step into our potential, which is readily available to you? It's really, how do you get out of the way? Because again, it's already there, as we said in our theme, revealing the wholeness that you are. So how is this all spiritual? Well, I'm just getting into the book. Chapter 4 starts talking about, I love how he said this, that the spiritual attributes of God, love, gratitude, inspiration, joy, excitement, awe, beauty, love, life, light, power, joy, are all elevated frequencies, a higher energy. And when you are in those elevated frequencies, in that higher energy, then it's like a magnet. And by being in that space, you are attracting to yourself via law the greater revelation of your wholeness. So scientifically, what he's basically saying is, here's how it is done unto you as you believe. Set an intention using your mind to become focused and clear, and align with your heart. Move into those greater frequencies of love, light, peace, power, beauty, joy, and you will magnetically draw from the quantum field and demonstrate what you want. Now, I've read some of the previous books of Dr. Joe, and I know he's into meditation, and I've done some of the meditations in the other book. I haven't gotten far enough in this book to do those meditations. But he basically creates meditations that help us not to get attached in time and space, so that you can, again, elevate your thinking into the fuller potential without being emotionally bonded to what you've known before. And he basically says, when we become a nobody, a no one, a no thing, nowhere, in no time, we are taking off all distractions in our outer world that keep us bound, that keep us from being present with the unified field of intelligence that is within us and around us. How many radio stations are actually playing right now? Hundreds. Hundreds. Many are sending their signals all on different frequencies. And it's the receiver, it's like I don't even have a radio except in my car. The receiver dials in to the frequency. All the potential is right here, right now, in you, waiting to be revealed by us tuning in to that quantum field. Now, of course, he says in the book, this doesn't mean that your senses are going to be able to be there. Again, it's a detachment and a centering of the knowing that connects in consciousness. So some people, oh, that's just your imagination. Oh, you're just dreaming. That's where the power is. That's where the power of attraction is. So I want to say, of course, he's encouraging us to spend more time connecting to your inner world and being present there. We call that spiritual practice. And by doing your spiritual practice, whatever, prayer, meditation, music, whatever can draw you into your inner world to be less distracted by the outer world, allows us to release the time and space and to dream about becoming. So all potential is here and now. What are you becoming?